Tonight's Board of Education members in Sayreville, and you're looking at a live shot right now of the building they'll be voting in here. They are set to decide whether 5 tenured teachers who are also members of the football team's coaching staff should be suspended amid hazing allegations that have canceled the school's football program for the balance of the year. Now, tonight's board meeting set for 7 o'clock, and members are also set to discuss the long-term suspension of the 7 students that allegedly perpetrated these acts. Police and the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office investigating severe hazing allegations at Sayreville War Memorial High School. 7 boys on the football team, all upperclassmen, arrested for allegedly assaulting freshmen on the team in the locker room. 3 of the boys facing charges including aggravated sexual assault. Authorities say conflicting stories from the witnesses may, however, complicate the investigation. The high school students have taken to Twitter to speak out about the allegations and the disciplinary action taken against the football team. Give you a small sample of this. This one person, Brian, tweeting here, "It's not any coach's fault. It's the seniors and the captains for letting this happen." Another one says, Nikki says, "If freshmen thought we hated them before, we sure as hell hate them now." And Kells writes, "Seriously thought, who does this new superintendent think he is?" And if you think this is some vacuum just in New Jersey, think again. JV football program in Monroe Woodbury High School in Orange County in New York also being suspended the whole year amid hazing allegations. School officials launching an investigation into bullying claims. Some players say they were verbally abused by their teammates, one saying he was called the N-word. And right next door in Connecticut, Ridgefield High School and local police also investigating hazing allegations that allegedly took place last week. Officials aren't releasing too many of the details, but say the alleged incidents involved athletes and non-athletes during the school's Spirit Week. Officials say drugs and alcohol were involved here. However, the incidents did not occur on school property. Okay, to save time, let's all agree hazing bad, problem, we got to address it and everything else. But now I make it hard, and I'll start with you, Shelley, because of course I always put you on the spot. You're now in 20 minutes, you're one of those people deciding the fate. Let's start of the coaches. Nobody alleges, at least to this point, that the coaches were present for at least 4 different incidents supposedly that happened in the locker room. However, you've got 70 plus kids, or something approaching that, of ages 14 through 18, that theoretically are left unsupervised in the locker room for something of a program that went on systemically for years, not just in one month window. Should the coaches be held responsible and even be suspended for something that were happening basically under their watch, even if they didn't see it?
Well, this is where the lawyer in me kicks in, but I do think it matters what the evidence is. And the other part is I think you do need to send a strong signal. So without knowing the details, to the extent that the chief coach or the head coach never went in that locker room and never took charge of something that had been happening, that person needs to bear responsibility. I can't speak to the others, but I think if the person who's in charge of the team literally chooses to turn their head and pay no attention, that's an affirmative choice, and there needs to be consequences for that. Beyond that, I don't know about the other coaches, and I think it really depends on what they knew or should have known, or what they heard and what the gossip world told them about it. We don't know all that yet.
These aren't college kids, Dominic. These aren't pros. These are minors, okay? And to suggest here that, you know, we all didn't read Lord of the Flies, we all didn't go through high school, we don't know how kids act, especially on a team, right? Especially on a football team, is naive. I know last night you said, and you've said repeatedly, hold the 7 responsible, don't hold the balance of the team responsible. You still feel the same way as it relates to coaches?
Definitely. And you cannot hold the coaches responsible if they had no knowledge. Now, Richard, you were an athlete. I played ball. You played ball. Right. Richard, if the coach was inside the locker room while we were showering, we would think something was wrong with the coach.
There's a difference.
But when we're in the locker room, all we're doing is showering and leaving. What I don't understand about these athletes, right. What I don't understand here, Richard, when I played high school ball, we were not into putting objects into people, and I don't understand the logic. Yeah. I mean, if you might be a little mean to a freshman, you might ring their bell and tackle them a little hard on the field, but you weren't putting objects and things into people. I mean, I don't get that part.
That's what's disturbing about this. I mean, but because hazing is there's always been sort of a rite of passage that goes along with playing a sport like football. What I don't get is how these kids, these upperclassmen and the freshmen, were intermingling in the first place. I mean, you know,
Good point.
I mean, the freshmen should be separate. They should have a separate locker room. They should be showering at a different time.
Because they're a separate team.
They're a separate team, and there is probably a freshman coach who
you know, they're giving me time, Phil, but I'm curious about this.
Yeah.
We read just a small sampling of some of the tweets that came out from the kids.
Yes.
And some of the reaction from the parents in the days immediately after it, the hubris, how dare a superintendent dare to shut down a football team when there's allegations that they didn't even know the details of sexual abuse against the kids.
Right.
Talk about misplaced priorities.
Well,
and I believe in team sports. I want my
Yes.
kids to play team sports.
Right.
I believe in it through every fiber. But you need a reality check, and that's why we politely disagree on this. Somebody has to send a message for a community that lives and breathes its football team. You're not going to get your football team, just like it happened in Penn State. Some things are beyond unacceptable, and even if innocent people are caught up in the wash, this can happen again, and the only way you get through to these folks is by them understanding the gravity of it.
Yeah, I don't think you can get away without some kind of suspension of somebody here, and it probably starts with the head coach, even if you didn't know. I mean, I don't know how you get around it, Dominic and Richard. You know, I think that you know, there's so many problems with this that you know, I would stop short of criminal charges probably, although because I don't know all the details.
Yeah,
either.
no, they're still
But I'll tell you
unfolding
this,
here,
but
but
I'll
it's
tell you-
about messaging.
But I'll
I
tell you
think.
this, Richard. This is the thing that's interesting and has changed from when back in the olden times when I was in high school and junior high. There is now a cult of the coaches that goes on now, I think, in schools, where it's all about this winning culture, you know, which is fine. It's okay to want to win. But it's almost like they've become like college coaches in the sense that they're now cult figures in the schools.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the parents get caught up in it. It's all about, you know,
there's some scary deification going on in some of these guys, definitely. All right.
Anyhow,
When we come
but I think
back,
that may
I
be
want
part
to keep on the sports team because New Jersey right now, they face budget shortfalls like a whole bunch of states here, and they're going to be betting on one way to close the gap is through sports betting. Is that good or bad policy? We'll talk about that after this.